Story 1. The Unseen Intruder. My family has always prided itself on being skeptics, rational, no nonsense, and firmly grounded in reality. That's why, even now, I can't explain what happened that day. It started innocuously enough. Casual as ever, I asked, "Do you believe in ghosts?" He recounted a strange experience from years ago. Something he admitted could have been paranormal. Then, trying to lighten the mood, I asked, "Did you ever try to scare me when I came home from school?" I had my reasons for asking. It was something I'd been meaning to bring up for years. He shook his head again. "No, not really." "Oh, wait, I did shoot a Nerf dart at you once while you were on the computer. Does that count?" His answer sent an eerie chill through me. That wasn't the incident I was talking about. Not even close. I hesitated, then began my story. I had been in the 7th grade, just a few weeks into the new school year. That day, I came home to an empty house. My brother was out at a friend's place, and my parents were working late. I was a quiet kid, especially when I was home alone. I always had this irrational fear that if I made too much noise, someone or something might hear me. That fear felt very real that day. After watching YouTube videos on my bed for a while, I headed to the bathroom. Our house has an odd layout. The bathroom is at the end of a short hallway, with my brother's room directly opposite. If you turn right from the bathroom, you reach a staircase leading to the main floor, which also connects to our front door. We had an alarm system that would announce any door or window opening, so I felt safe enough, or so I thought. I was washing my hands when I heard it, a loud thud from my brother's room. My stomach tightened. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe my brother had come home early, but the house felt wrong. Too quiet, too still. I turned off the faucet, moved to the door, and locked it. My hands were trembling. I pressed my ear against the door and listened. At first, there was nothing but oppressive silence. Then I heard it muttering, low, guttural, and unmistakably not my brother's voice. The sound of S's and T's hissed through the air, forming words I couldn't understand. And then came the footsteps. Heavy, they started in my brother's room, deliberate, and grew louder as they approached the bathroom. I backed away from the door, pounding so hard I thought it might burst. The footsteps stopped right outside. I held my breath, stifling a scream. My eyes darted to the small window in the bathroom. An escape route, maybe, if it came to that. Seconds dragged on like hours. Then the footsteps resumed, moving away from the bathroom toward the stairs. The silence was shattered by a deafening crash. Something or someone had fallen down the stairs. I heard the front door open, the alarm announcing it had been triggered. Relief washed over me. Whoever or whatever it was had left, or so I thought. Not 10 seconds later, violent pounding erupted from the laundry chute. It sounded like someone was jabbing at it with a sharp object, trying to break through. I stared in frozen horror as the small door rattled on its hinges, and then, as suddenly as it started, it stopped. I stayed in the bathroom for what felt like an eternity before creeping back to my room. I locked my door, or rather, held the handle tightly, since I didn't have a lock, and waited for my parents to come home. When they finally arrived, they didn't believe me. My brother dismissed my story, too, until I shared it with him years later. That's when he told me about the strange noises he used to hear in his room at night, coming from the attic hatch above his bed. To this day, I don't know who or what was in the house with me that night. All I know is that I'll never forget the fear. Story 2. The Watching Neighbor. My name's Alyssa. When I was 16, I lived with my mom in a cramped, rundown apartment in the Bronx. It wasn't the safest place. Shady people were always lingering around, and the hallways at night had this oppressive air, like you were being watched. Our apartment was second to last on the 7th floor, right next to a man no one seemed to know much about. He was an older man, probably in his 60s. With sparse gray hair and an unsettling, emotionless expression. He spent hours sitting on the windowsill outside his door, watching everyone who passed by, especially me. Stay away from him, my mom warned. But it wasn't that simple. The man seemed to know everything about me, my name, my schedule. And one night, he asked something that sent a shiver down my spine. "Is your mom working tonight?" he said as I unlocked the door. Foolishly, I nodded. He just stared at me, unblinking, before nodding back. I slammed the door shut, heart racing. Later that night, I was in the shower when I heard a strange rumbling noise. It came from my bedroom. Wrapping a towel around me, I cautiously stepped out to investigate. I couldn't find anything at first, but then I noticed it, a small hole in the wall, just big enough for an eye to peer through. When I knelt down to look, I froze. On the other side was a bloodshot eye, staring back at me. Panic surged through me. That wall separated our apartment from the neighbors. Realizing there could be more, I checked the bathroom. Sure enough, there was another hole drilled into the tile near the shower. As I called my mom, a loud pounding erupted on the front door. "Open up," the neighbor's voice growled. I didn't drill those holes. I called the police and they arrived quickly. My mom came home shortly after. The neighbor was arrested, evicted, and charged. But even now, I can't shake the feeling of being watched. Story 3, The Forest Stalker. Hal, my friend and an experienced Eagle Scout, had convinced me to join him and his girlfriend Maya on a camping trip. We drove deep into the woods, far from any official campsites, to a secluded spot Hal knew well. The night started off fun. Drinks, stories, laughter. But as the fire burned low, things took a sinister turn. It started with footsteps, slow, deliberate, and circling just beyond the firelight. Hal assured me it was probably a deer. Then we heard it, a clicking, guttural growl that sent shivers down my spine. We retreated to our tents. I lay in mine, heart racing, as something massive and bipedal passed by. Its shadow loomed on the tent walls, grotesque and inhuman. Then Maya screamed. Hal shouted for us to run. We bolted through the forest, chased by heavy footsteps and that horrible clicking sound. Somehow, Hal found the car and we sped off, leaving everything behind. To this day, none of us can explain what we encountered. But one thing is certain, it wasn't human. Comment below, Chills, if you want more horror stories.